So imagine you pick up a book. It's labeled psychological thriller. You're ready for suspense, bad decisions, the works.
Tropes.
Exactly. But then, halfway through, the whole narrative just pivots. And it hands you a mathematical formula for solving human suffering.
It is definitely a curveball. We're diving into Someone Knocks at the Door by Dr. Pramod Ambadasrao Pawar.
Right.
And honestly, just calling it a novel feels a little incomplete. It's more of a philosophical manifesto wearing a fiction trench coat.
Yeah, the sources are clear. This is a delivery system for his theory of trans-deconstruction. So our mission today is to figure out how this story about obsession really doubles as a manual for cosmic balance.
And it lures you in so well. It starts with this very fragile architecture of its characters. You have Zara and her mother, Ruth.
And the house itself feels like a character, described as smelling of, what was it, jasmine mingled with damp wood.
It's a heavy atmosphere. And the weather, always raining, constant storms brewing.
A classic move. The weather just mirrors that internal chaos. And then Levi walks in. He's meant to be the helper, right? The hero.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
But this is where that fragile architecture just crumbles. Levi's care, it spirals. It's framed as obsession masquerading as love.
He's trying to fix them by controlling them.
Exactly. And in doing so, he creates what the text calls these cracks in the glass.
It is absolutely suffocating. And it leads to tragedy. Zara commits suicide to escape what the book calls this web of hearts.
Right. And in most thrillers, that's it. That's the climax. Fade to black.
But not here. Here, death is just the start of the lesson.
Yes, the story shifts and the characters move into a luminous void. The genre literally changes from thriller to metaphysical textbook.
Okay, so let's unpack this. This is where we get the Pramod effect, and he gives us a literal equation. 1 minus 1 equals 0 equals 1. Now, mathematically, 1 minus 1 is 0. I'm with him so far. That part tracks.
Sure.
But how on earth do you get from 0 back to 1?
Well, you have to stop thinking algebraically and start thinking philosophically. The first one is a state, like life or love. The -1 is its destructive opposite.
So death, or in Levi's case, obsession.
Precisely. When you subtract that negative duality, you get 0. But it's not nothingness. It's a state he calls universal zeroness.
So 0 isn't an empty number. It's a state of potential, stillness.
Exactly. It's pure balance. And in Power's framework, that absolute balance is the ultimate oneness. That's the final one. You neutralize conflict to find unity.
That is a big leap for a reader expecting a typical thriller. And in this luminous void, Zara's father, Danny, he's the guide.
He's the professor. He spells it out for them. He says freedom without boundaries becomes chaos. It's a direct critique of Levi's actions.
Because he had no boundaries, his love became destructive.
He never applied the formula. He never did the subtraction to neutralize his obsession.
Which brings us to the big theory driving this whole thing. Trans-deconstruction. Now, normally, deconstruction meaning is unstable, right? The reader decides.
Yeah, the whole death of the author idea. Pawar argues the complete opposite. He believes in one single absolute truth in the text, the author's trans intention.
So he's saying, I wrote it, I know what it means, and your job is to find that meaning.
That's it. And he gives you the tool, the PRMOD axiom. It's a framework to get you from the manifested corpus, which is just the plot,
The rain, the suicide,
to the superconscious truth, which is monorenism, unity.
It feels like if you get hung up on the tragedy, you've missed the entire point. You've failed the test.
And Levi eventually passes. He gets to return to the living world. But he's changed. The book ends with him hearing a knock at the door.
Hence the title. But it's not a literal knock, is it?
No. The knock is internal. The visitor is inside him. It's this theory of interconnectedness finally clicking.
So every knock, every sudden urge or new obsession, it's a test.
It's a test of his restraint. He has to decide whether to open that door and let the chaos back in.
Or keep it shut. Maintain that state of 0. Apply the formula.
1 minus 1 equals 0. Neutralize the urge before it takes over.
Wow. It's a really dense framework, but it does leave you with a fascinating question. If every challenge, every knock at your own door is a test of your internal balance, are you opening it and letting obsession walk in, or are you solving the equation?
And that right there is the difference between chaos and peace.